decided to resign from what I thought would be my forever career because I felt like more of a political activist than a teacher in my own classroom. Unfortunately, what's going on in classrooms across our country is pitting students against each other based on the color of their skin.
A Connecticut elementary school teacher sounding off on critical race theory after resigning from her position, citing the woke indoctrination that's taking over schools. That former Connecticut elementary school teacher, Jennifer Tafuto, joins me now. Jennifer, thank you for joining us. I know you love being a teacher. You thought you were going to be a teacher forever. It is the most noble profession, or at least one of them. We all love teachers. Tell me, what brought you to this breaking point where you just said, I can't do this anymore?
Good morning. Thanks so much for having me.
Of course.
There was definitely not one point that led me to make this difficult decision. It was kind of built up throughout the year where I was asking my students questions that were really pressing them to think about themselves differently because of the color of their skin. And I just thought that some of the work was extremely divisive and kind of going against the fact that we are all created equal.
So you were prompted by your administration or those in charge of your school to ask these questions, to present this material in this way?
Yes, that's correct. We were given prompts to ask our students.
So, I mean, no one can see better than you. I mean, you're seeing firsthand the impact of this, race-obsessed curriculum on innocent children. Describe to us what you're seeing in the classroom as a result of this kind of curriculum.
Well, I want to start by saying racism is an extremely important topic. No one's taking that away. I just think that these conversations could have had the opportunity to be really powerful for students, to come from a place of unity. And so I saw for my young students, 7 and 8 years old, it was going over their heads for the most part.
Yeah.
But I was reminded by a parent just last week that her daughter was pointing people out in a public setting by the color of their skin. So it's very interesting because for most of them, it was just way too advanced. And then for some of them, it clearly does have implications that are harmful.
Yeah, well, I would just say as a mom, what I'm seeing is that it's having the opposite effect, that instead of bringing about racial harmony, it's causing more division, causing children to see color when maybe they didn't even see that before some of this very divisive curriculum was put forward. We're seeing a lot of parents, Jennifer, come forward and fight against critical race theory and this kind of as I said, racially obsessed curriculums. Do you think that that's going to make a difference? And do you think that more teachers should resign and protest the way you have if we want to bring about change? How do we change this?
Well, I think, first of all, me reaching out and speaking about this was never about me fighting this district. It's not exclusive to them. It was me about, speaking for our young children, our young students. And it's been so wonderful to hear from parents of all backgrounds reach out and teachers from all backgrounds in this district across our country. But yes, to answer your question, I think it's extremely important for teachers and parents to speak up on this. I'm now working with an organization called 1776 Action, and there are so many opportunities for educators, administrators, parents to join this movement. And if they're uncomfortable with it and they disagree with it and they think that it's creating division, then they absolutely need to speak up and support this work against what's going on in our classrooms.
Jennifer Tafuto, you are a brave woman, and I think a lot of people are finding inspiration in what you did. Thank you so much for joining us. We have a quote here from the Manchester Public Schools. This is their statement. Manchester Public Schools recognizes its responsibility to address in-grade and age-appropriate ways and issues that include racism, inequities, discrimination, and systemic bias. We proudly do so while also practicing culturally responsive and relevant teaching, affirming students' ethnic and racial backgrounds and including appropriately varied cultural references in all aspects of learning. I wish they would just get back to reading and writing. Anyway, that's it.